What response would you give to them with respect to the steps that you're taking to make sure not only that we stay safe, but we get even safer?
Talked about intelligence, criminal law enforcement, and criminal justice missions.
The
budget.
This?
Can I just keep? I only have 34 seconds to answer you, and I really want to answer.
For you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a recent congressional hearing that has stirred up quite the conversation about our national security, the FBI, and gun control. Buckle up because I've got some strong opinions on this one. So, you just heard Congressman Ivy raise some serious concerns about the FBI's budget and staffing. He pointed out that the FBI is supposedly short by a whopping $11.2 billion. And this is before we even consider the heightened security risks we're facing with rising tensions in the Middle East, especially with Iran. Now, let's break this down.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to follow up on what Congressman Gonzalez raised with you with respect to the new environment that we're in now with the essentially a war with Iran. A few weeks ago, your FBI director sat in the same chair and said that he thought in the budget that's been proposed, they're about $11.2 billion short. He wanted an additional 1,100 positions that were lost to attrition and 1,300 he wanted to have filled. That's before the scenario with Iran. Now, I know you submitted the budget already and you want to stick with it, but please take another look. This is a new environment. I think the points that the congressman raised are very valid with respect to the issue of sleeper cells and threats domestically here. Taking FBI agents off the street now is there isn't a worse possible time you could do it. So please reconsider that and move in a different direction on that, because we need more of them on the street, not fewer. Ms. DeLauro was raising issues with respect to your budget, the IOI cuts and the 86 agents that are going to be cut too. And the concern I have on that front, I know you're saying they want to be on the street, but they're ATF agents that do things that aren't on the street. So like, for example, the Nibbin work where they match the cartridges to the guns is critical. And I'm very concerned that some of the cuts you're going to make are going to impact that. And the Nibbin pieces are critical for state and local law enforcement. It's like you used to be, because a lot of them don't have the resources to track it down. And the information that they can get, they can turn it around in 48 hours. So the man who attempted to assassinate now President Trump, the connection that was made was through this apparatus, this approach. The same thing with the Minnesota assassin. So that's an area where we can't afford to have those kind of cuts, I don't think, at this time. And the performance of fewer regulatory inspections. I had gun dealers in my district who needed those inspections to take place. And important findings have been made, certainly with respect to tracking crime guns and cracking down on gun dealers who are working illicitly. I'm not saying they all do. I mean, many of them operate in the right way, but the only way to track it down is through inspections that have to be aggressive. And by the way, even under the current regime or the previous regime, I think some of them didn't get inspections for maybe every 10 years or so. So it wasn't like it's a constant harassment piece. But I've got some folks here in the corner of the hearing room who are from my district: Moms Demand Action, DMV Mothers Like Me, Women's Missionary Society. I met with them a few weeks ago, and the concern was the issue of gun violence on our streets and the desire to make sure that the federal presence continues to push hard to make sure we close those cases. You're reducing resources, you're reducing the number of agents, as Mr. Patel said. That's moving in the opposite direction. What response would you give to them with respect to the steps that you're taking to make sure not only that we stay safe, but we get even safer and do even more to get violent offenders off the street and get the guns off the street before the violent offenders get them?
So first, Congressman Ivy, you're a former prosecutor, and I'm smiling because I could see that in some of your questions. Thank you for those questions. I'm going to try to answer them all in order of how you ask them. You ask about the FBI, our budget, and Director Patel clarified that in front of the Senate, I think, and our budget includes $10.1 billion, 12,926 agents for the FBI.
I think clarification would be gentle. It was a complete flip-flop on what he said when he was here.
So
And he was asked
they
3 times by
prioritized-
Ms. DeLauro just to make sure that he was right about what he had said when he was
They
testifying.
prioritize realignment of personnel to the field to carry out national security, which you just talked about, intelligence, criminal law enforcement, and criminal justice missions.
Can I do-
The
can I
budget,
do
wait,
this?
can I just keep,
If-
I only
if-
have 34 seconds to
I've
answer you,
got
and I
3
really
quick
want to
questions
answer.
for you, and I'd love
You're
to get.
asking 3
I'd love to-
questions,
I'd
and you
love to
haven't
get
let
your
me answer one.
I'd
I
love to
wanna
get your
talk about
answers in
Niven.
writing. Quick questions.
Niven,
When you were the Attorney General in Florida.
Chairman, can I
you
answer the
offered-
question?
You offered, after the Parkland shooting, I believe this is my time, under the rules, and I had,
Stop the clock.
can we stop the clock?
Stop the clock at a different.
Mr. Chairman,
Until filibuster.
what I just said was, if you could submit your answers in writing, that would be great. I don't think I've made any kind of statement that's been accusatory with respect to her or her professional reputation. There's been no attack on her. These were just questions that were asked. I'm seeking the answers in writing, which would be great. But I have a couple others that I'd like to ask too, and we'll do them on. No, it hasn't. You cut me off when there were 30 seconds left. Yeah. So, well, that's true too. A couple of you all went over like a minute and a half.
Over almost 2 minutes.
I just would like my 30 seconds back. And then if she can submit answers in writing, that'll be fine. But, but I want to get these questions in while she's here.
Go ahead.
I want to ask the questions and she can submit the answers. This is my 5 minutes. I get to do it the way I want to do it. Under the committee rules and under the House rules. These are my 5 minutes. And as I said, I have not been disrespectful to this witness. I have not. Or,
Like you did. I feel like you did.
okay. When you were the Attorney General in Florida, after the Parkland shooting, my understanding is that you moved to ban gun sales to people under 21. Is that a position that you would take now as the Attorney General? I have a bill, H.R. 2368, which does something like that. I would be interested in if you'd be willing to co-sponsor or support that bill. You also moved to enact red flag laws, allowing a judge temporarily to confiscate weapons when he or she viewed that the person was at risk of hurting himself or someone else. Is that a position you would continue to support now? And the last one is ghost guns. Ghost guns, I don't think you took a position on it back when you were the AG in Florida, but we've had 2 bills come through here in the Congress, all Democratic co-sponsors. I think there's no argument that ghost guns have any, appropriate use on the street. They only help criminals avoid prosecution. Would you support a legislative ban on ghost guns? And with that, I yield back.
The FBI director mentioned needing 1,100 additional positions to make up for attrition and 1,300 new agents to handle our national security threats. And yet, the proposed budget seems to ignore these critical needs. As patriots, we must prioritize the safety of our citizens. Taking agents off the street, that's a recipe for disaster. We cannot afford to reduce our manpower while potential sleeper cells are lurking in our neighborhoods. Then we heard from Moms Demand Action and other advocacy groups. They're obviously concerned about gun violence, and I get that. But let's be real. The issue isn't the guns themselves, it's the criminals who misuse them. Reducing the number of ATF agents, 86 positions cut, is going to impact crucial investigations that help keep our communities safe. We need these agents to track down illegal firearms and prevent gun violence. Not to mention the importance of a National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, NEBIN. Folks, the NEBIN system is vital. It helps law enforcement connect the dots between gun crimes and the weapons used. Cutting resources here is like shooting ourselves in the foot. We need to empower our law enforcement, not hinder them. The congressman also touched on the importance of aggressive inspections of gun dealers. Look, responsible dealers want to comply with the law. The few bad apples out there need to be held accountable, and inspections are a key part of that process. We're not talking about harassment. We're talking about ensuring public safety. I found it interesting when the nominee was pushed on her previous positions as Florida Attorney General, especially on raising the gun purchase age and red flag laws. These are big issues, and we need to consider their implications carefully. Yes, we want to keep our streets safe, but what's the balance? Are we infringing on our Second Amendment rights in the process? And let's talk about ghost guns for a second. The idea of banning them sounds appealing on the surface, but we need to ask ourselves, are we really addressing the root problem? Criminals will find a way around any law, and all this does is penalize law-abiding citizens. At the end of the day, this hearing highlighted a critical crossroads for our nation. As patriots, we must advocate for a strong law enforcement presence while ensuring our rights are protected. It's about finding that balance between security and liberty. So what do you think? Are we doing enough to protect our communities while safeguarding our freedoms? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more discussions like this one. Stay strong, patriots. Until next time.